Hey, Daft Punk disbanded. What's up? It's the Culture Detective here investigating your favorite movies, and today I'm going to do a movie review on GoodFellas by Martin Scorsese. GoodFellas. So, yesterday I actually watched GoodFellas because I promised myself and everyone else in the entire world that I will be reviewing a few classic movies every single month. And by a few, I mean 3 to 4. And yeah, Goodfellas has been on my watch list for a while. 5 years ago, when I went to Houston, Texas, actually the suburbs of Houston, Texas, and I lived in my mom's friend's place for a long time, which is a huge house. One day we went to a library in a university, and there is a DVD section in that library. And I went there and I saw that, wow, they have some movie DVDs over there. And given the child that I was, I got pretty excited. And I was like, yo, let's borrow and rent some of these DVDs and watch some movies. And so we did. And aside from watching Gravity, nobody had time to watch anything else. And one of the DVDs was actually Goodfellas. So, fast forward 5 years later, I have finally watched Goodfellas, the iconic, the classic gangster film. And I'm really, really glad that I didn't see this film when I was 13 years old, because I would never, ever be able to enjoy this film when I was 13 years old only. But now that I'm 18 years old and I've watched more films than before, I have began to be able to enjoy slower paced movies, including Goodfellas. Now, Goodfellas is not a slow paced movie. In fact, it is extremely well paced. It is written by Martin Scorsese and another guy who used to be, I think his name is Nicholas Pileggi, and he used to be a crime reporter, and he wrote a non-fiction book called Wise Guy on a certain gangster called Henry Hill, or named Henry Hill. And Henry Hill, played by Ray Liotta, is also the main character of this film. And yes, this movie is not slow paced by any means. It is actually incredibly well paced. I wasn't bored at all. However, if you think that this movie is going to be one really intense, dramatic, climactic roller coaster of emotions, it's not. It's going to be a very realistic portrayal of gangsters. Again, I don't know any gangsters in my life. I've never seen them, I've never spoken to them, so I don't know anything. But from how I've seen certain movies, this Goodfellas movie, seems to be more realistic in its approach. So we have the main character, Henry Hill, played by Ray Liotta. He joined the Gangster ever since he was a teenager, and he followed Robert De Niro's character, who is Jimmy Conway. So him, Jimmy Conway, and another person whose name is Tommy, played by Joe Pesci, them three worked together, robbed people, committed crimes, and they are part of a gangster. They are part of the gangsters, which means they receive a lot of money by committing these crimes, by robbing people, and they become really well respected and really powerful people within their communities. And they also have a lot of connections with other people in the gang, like with Paulie, who is the, at least in their department, the guy in charge. And these three people, they go through different things together throughout this entire movie. This entire movie isn't just about one thing only. This movie is about several things. And this is what I kind of appreciate about Martin Scorsese's work, is that after watching The Wolf of Wall Street, and now that I'm seeing this movie, I realize that Martin Scorsese's films are really long, because his films aren't the kind of films where it shows one thing and ends, where it shows characters encounter a problem, encounter a conflict, solve it, the movie ends. No, Martin Scorsese's films are not about a thing, but about the whole thing. His films do not capture one story, but the whole story, all the way from Henry Hill joining the gang when he was a teenager until at the very, very, very end when he stopped being a gangster. His entire life story is basically in this film. And so we go from him getting pinched the first time. Also, these jargons, these words that I don't even know. Pinched means being arrested by the cops. Whacked basically means being capped or killed or assassinated. So the first time he got pinched, it was a huge deal. Everybody congratulated him. And then he started to work more and more. He became more and more powerful and respected. He encountered this other guy from a rival gang, and there's a bit of a conflict that broke out, and that had resulted in some bloodshed. And he also met another guy, and he decided to, or more like, it was Jimmy's idea, their collective idea to do this crazy heist, which we didn't even see on screen. And this heist didn't turn out so well. I mean, it turned out really well, but it didn't have happy endings for everyone involved, of course. And then we have the ending bit of the movie where Henry Hill got into some trouble because he was dealing with some drugs, and the narcs department of the police began to wiretap him, watch him, and he was in a lot of paranoia. And there's also a lot of other stuff in this movie left and right, family issues and all that. First of all, the performances, I mean, it goes without saying, it is amazing. Robert De Niro, one of the best actors of all times. He pulled off an amazing job in this movie. Ray Liotta is great. Joe Pesci is like a ticking time bomb. He is chaotic, he's unpredictable, and he gets violent if he wants to. Do not piss the guy off. Do not piss this guy off. Say one bad thing about him, and there's going to be a bullet to your head. Do not piss the guy off. There are also many other moments in this movie where it's just great in a technical aspect, because Martin Scorsese knows that if it only shows the entire story from front to back without any cool little scene ideas, then it's not going to be as entertaining. So of course we got the opening title sequence designed by Salt Bass, which is or Salt Bass, which is very creative and simple, but good and fitting to the story. We have the iconic funny how scene, which was actually Joe Pesci's idea, where he's in a restaurant and people laughed at his joke. Even Henry laughed at his joke, and he's like, yeah, I'm funny, right? Funny how? Funny how? And there's just this incredible tension because we all know how dangerous the guy is. And we have the very famous long take scene, which is like 3 to 4 minutes long, where Henry takes his wife into this this restaurant, this bar, and it's just him walking down the stairs through the kitchen, and it's smooth as hell. We have the prison dinner scene, where at some point in the movie, a bunch of characters actually get to prison, and there's this prison dinner scene because when gangsters go to prison, they still get a lot of freedom and a lot of room, so they get to cook their own dinner and stuff. We have the dolly zoom scene near the end of the movie, and the very sudden and very random fourth wall break, which may feel jarring, but in the grander scheme of things, it is a really nice touch. And aside from that, the directing is really good. That goes without saying as well. We got the freeze frames, the montages. It's all very Scorsese-esque. It's all very practical. And so I'm just going to leave it at that. It is a great movie. While I don't think it's perfect, not because I found glaring flaws in this film or anything, but it's just not the kind of movie that I would constantly go back to. But I just really appreciate the fact that Scorsese would make an entire movie that tells the entire story from front to back with great directing, great performances, great editing as well, and just a really solid and cohesive movie overall. Yeah, I'm just gonna leave it at that. Goodfellas, good movie. I'm giving Goodfellas a 9 out of 10. Yeah. So, have you watched Goodfellas from 1 to 10? How much did you rate it? Like it, and subscribe if you want more. And thanks for watching. I want to watch Tarantino's Kill Bill and Edward Young's Yi Yi. However, I may change my mind and review some other movies because Goodfellas is a lot, and I don't want to watch another movie that is a lot. And you know that Yi Yi is like 3 hours long, and A Brighter Summer Day is 4 hours long. And I want to find movies that are easier to digest. Of course, we have Kill Bill, but there are also other easier to digest movies that I can think of, like Fantastic Mr. Fox by Wes Anderson, which I also really want to watch and review. So, yeah,